Hi guys, today we're going to be solving AP-1 copyEndy. Problem states, we'll say that a positive int n is ny if it is in the range 0 to 10 or 90 to 100 inclusive. Given an array of positive ints, return a new array of length count containing the first ny numbers from the original array. Decompose out a separate isNy int n method to test if a number is ny. The original array will contain at least count ny numbers. Alright, so it's a very straightforward problem, and it's a lot like the last problem we solved. So essentially, excuse me, sorry. So essentially there's an array given, and we have to create our own array. We know the size of our array by the integer given, which is count, and the numbers that will go within this new array that we create are going to be numbers that pass the condition ny, which is either if it ends or positive int n is ny if it is in the range 0 to 10 or 90 to 100 inclusive. So if the number is 0 to 10 or 90 to 100, we add it into our array. And once our array is full, we just return the array. Alright, cool. So the first thing it does is ask us to create a separate int is and y method. Okay, so I made this method Boolean type so that we're going to have to return a Boolean, because essentially what this method does is just check to see if the number is in between 0 to 10 or 90 to 100. If it is, we return true, otherwise we return false. So to do that, we want to say if n is greater than or equal to 0 and n is less than or equal to 10, or if n is greater than or equal to 90 and n is less than or equal to 100. Remember, we're doing equal to because it says inclusive. If it was exclusive, we would not do equal to. And just in case, let's put parentheses around these conditions. So if the number is greater than or equal to 0 and less than or equal to 10, then we return true. Another case where we return true is if n is in between 90 to 100. So if either of those are true, we return true. Otherwise, we can just return false. Alright, so that's the end of our method. So now we're going to have to create an integer array. I'm going to name mine res for result, to store the is and y variables or numbers. And we know this is going to be count long. There's going to be count amount of rooms within this array. So we're going to want to run. Oh, also, just like the previous problem, we're going to need an index to track the location. For the explanation why, you can check out the last video, the previous problem, and I'll explain it one more time later. Okay, so we want to start at index 0 and go all the way till the end of the array, which can be done by nums.length. Then we want to check if if is and y, if that and the number going within that is nums_i, if that is true, then res index will equal nums_i. If we do that, index plus plus. Alright, so basically what this if statement does right here. So we're going to be checking the numbers within the array one at a time. That is represented by nums_i in the for loop. We're going to be checking each of those numbers individually and sending them over to our method called is and y. This method, like I explained earlier, basically just checks to see if the conditions are true. If it's in between 0 to 10 or 90 to 100 inclusive. If either of those are true, we return true. So then, if the condition is met, then we want to add that number into our results array at index 0, or the first time it's at index 0. And after we add it the first time, we want to increment index by 1. We want to increment it every time we add a new number into our result array. And like the previous problem, we also need another condition. If index is equal to count, we want to break out of the for loop so that we don't exceed. For example, this array right here, this third example, there are 1, 2, 3 numbers that can fit inside that are and y. However, we only want to take 2. So to check for that, we're gonna to check for that, that is why we need this if statement to check if our index is equal to count. If it does end up equaling to count, we don't want to proceed with the for loop because we've already filled up all the rooms in our result array and we just want to break out of it. There, after all of that, you just want to return final int array. Let's see if this works. Nice, it works.